Hi everyone, it's me Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today we are going to be playing around with all the items that we got in the October Artsnacks box. I know I'm behind. I will eventually be catching up. I did Inktober for every day of October, so we are a little behind on the unboxings and those projects, but we will get there. I got some very interesting colors in this one. I got a yellow, we got some black ink with a dip pen, we got a brown liner, and a purple acrylic marker. I had no idea what to do with these. Luckily, my mother is amazing and has a very good sense of colors, and she gave me a couple of ideas after I sent her a picture of these swatches, and one of the ideas was to do a pansy. That's what I decided to do. I got my sketch in just using a regular mechanical pencil. I then used the yellow ink to get the yellow parts in. I then switched to the purple marker that we have, the acrylic one. I should have left in white spaces like I end up doing later, because I made it just a little bit too flat. I do cheat and pull in a white Sharpie paint marker to help bring back some of the white, but it would have been better if I did the same thing I ended up doing with the later petals. I pull in the brown marker, which is a sepia fineliner from Winsor Newton to help get some shading in, and to also put in some of the very distinctive Pansy markings at first. The yellow is a Sennelier ink brush in lemon yellow, and the purple is Plumchester paint marker in mauve. It's interesting because I actually thought it was going to be more of a redder-based paint marker because of the way the color on the packaging looks, but it's definitely a lot more blue-based, as you can see in how it applies here. I end up pulling in more of the yellow over that white area I have on the bottom petals, and I did find out that if you put that Sennelier ink right over the Winsor Newton marker that they do blend in together, so I could have mixed those together a little bit more to get some other shading going on. And here I'm pulling in that water-based white Sharpie paint marker to help pull back out some highlights. I like having the bright white highlights, especially with a project like this. I want there to be as much contrast as I can have because the shading is going to be pretty limited. I jump back and forth between the brown and the yellow a little bit more to attempt to get some more shading going on. Like I just said, it's pretty limited with what I have here, but I'm still trying to get some happening. I also use the brown to get some outline on the outer edges of the flower. I will be going over that with black a little bit later. I also pull back in some more of that mauve Plumchester paint marker in some of the areas where I felt like it needed a little bit more of that bluish purple. At this point I start adding in some of the black Indian ink, which is from Royal Talens. I really loved using the dip pen with this ink. I very rarely do this. This is probably like my second or third time doing it, and I really enjoyed using the dip pen specifically with this ink. It was really easy to do, and I'm interested in playing around with it a lot more. Some of my lines did get a little wonky in certain areas, but I still really enjoyed playing around with this. I was able to get a lot of different line weights with it, and I was able to fill in some really big areas with it as well. It was nice, I liked it. The India ink is a nice deep black, and it's really matte. I love how it looks with this. I decided I wanted to pull a color into the background, so I'm going in with that Plumchester mauve. I also wanted to test how streaky it is, and it is pretty streaky just applying it with the marker. I'm sure you can mix it with water on a palette and apply it with a brush to get a more even look, but I was just trying to see how well it worked out. I also noticed that it's really matte, and it doesn't seem very opaque. Also, I had to pump the tip a lot and shake it quite a bit throughout the drawing, a little bit more than I'm used to for a marker like this. Granted, typically with a paint marker like this, you would just be doing it for lines and for small details. You wouldn't be typically using it for a full background. I just wanted to see how it would do. I pull more of that sepia liner into the flower itself in the yellow areas just to get even deeper shading going on. I'm attempting to get as much shading as I can, even though with these colors it's going to be kind of difficult to do that. With all the items included in this box, you could definitely pull in some water on a palette and do little monochromatic shifts as you go and get a lot more shading that way. I wanted to test out what we had in the box, with the exception of obviously the white marker to help pull back out highlights because I messed up. But other than the cheating with the white marker, I wanted to see how these items played together with just the stuff in the box without pulling in some water. It was an experiment, like a lot of these little drawings I do with this art supplies are. It's just fun to play around and see what you can do and what happens. At this point, I had pulled in the dip pen again to get the outline around the flower and get some of the deeper parts going on in the flower, and I'm also darkening up a couple of areas with the brown. At this point, I start getting a little goofy. I wanted to try and just play around and have fun with this project. So I'm pulling in the black ink on that dip pen again to do some little leaves that end up being almost like little arms, and I put in a stem. After I get the ink in there, I do pull in some purple back into the leaves, and then I pull in my white marker on the leaves and on the stem, just to add a couple highlights, make it look slightly less flat. I wanted it to still look a little flat, but some highlights helped it out a little bit. What I like about pansies is the way they have the markings in the flower. It almost looks like they have little faces, so I decided to kind of just go with that. That's why I added the little arm leaves. That's what we're going to call them. I also pull in some purple and white into some of the markings to make it look like he has little eyes, and I pulled some white into the one area to make it look like there's little teeth going on. It just ended up being a fun, silly little project. But with that, this video and this project are pretty much done. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you have any comments, questions, feelings, concerns, you want to let me know what you did with this October Artsnacks box, let me know all about that in that comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe. I do Artsnacks unboxings and projects once a month. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day or night to watch this video, listen to me ramble. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. You'll definitely be hearing from me soon. Bye, everybody!